and welcome to Breakfast for Pancakes. I'm your host, PK Sullivan. Today we're making peach cobbler. It's late August here in Chicago, which means peaches are going to be in season for about 30 seconds. I got these over the weekend. They look great. Wonderful color. Beautiful peach aroma. They are starting to get soft today, and I think they should peel just fine. A cobbler is a baked fruit dessert that has a sweet biscuit on top. The fruit cooks in its own juices, creating a wonderful sweet syrup. This works out really well because then you can get the biscuit down into it and soak that up. It's heavenly. Cobblers are good if you're feeling a little nervous about trying to make a pie dough and knowing how fickle pie doughs are. The biscuit topping is a little less demanding and you don't have to work it nearly as much. In fact, you shouldn't work it nearly as much as you will a pie dough. You could do apples, plums, cherries, really anything. I've got some nice peaches here. The techniques I want to go over today are how to peel soft-skinned fruits, such as peaches or tomatoes, and how to make a biscuit. I mean, yeah, making a cobbler is going to be in there, but making a sweet biscuit and how to peel the fruit are the two big techniques that you want to take away from this video today. One thing I really like about peach cobbler is it's fairly straightforward. You have a simple fruit filling and a simple biscuit topping.
Ingredients: ripe peaches, 40 grams of sugar, twice, 1 lemon, zested and juiced, cornstarch, all-purpose flour, baking powder, baking soda, kosher salt, butter, diced, buttermilk.
Here's how you dice butter for biscuits and pie doughs. Cut your stick of butter down to size. This recipe calls for 5 tablespoons. You want to work with your butter while it's still cold. Cut it into planks. Stack it, and then cut it into sticks. Stack it one last time, and cut it into cubes. Now you have individual little pieces of butter that come apart when you work with them. The important thing here is to now take this and get it back into the fridge or freezer. I prefer to put it in the freezer for about 20 minutes, but if you have longer, the fridge works just fine.
How to peel peaches.
In order to peel peaches, we're going to blanch them, which just means quickly tossing them in boiling water and then quenching them in an ice bath. The process of rapidly heating up the exterior and then cooling it makes the skins peel off very, very easily. Before you blanch your peaches, you want to cut an X across the bottom side of the peach, not the stem side, but the side opposite. So just take a sharp knife and gently slice an X shape. You don't have to go deeply. A slice that you can see and feel. Repeat that for all of your peaches, and then we'll move to the boiling water. To blanch your peaches, use a mesh wire spider to drop them into the boiling water, 1 or 2 at a time. Blanching only takes a minute.
After boiling for a minute, transfer the peaches directly to the ice bath.
It's time to start peeling them. Go ahead and get yourself 2 bowls, a large one to hold your peaches, and a small one to hold the peels and pits. With any luck, your peels will just pull right off from the X where you cut it, but oftentimes they won't. So in that case, you'll want to get a peeler. Gently start removing the skin. With any luck, it does just peel off, but doesn't always happen, especially if your peaches weren't completely soft when you did the blanch. And just be aware, in case you've never done this before, a peeled peach is pretty much the slipperiest thing on earth.
Chopping your peaches.
To slice your peach, get a nice sharp knife, cut all the way to the pit, and just sort of turn the fruit around the knife. This will let you keep your fingers away from the blade while still cutting all the way around. Do that twice, so you have quarters. Remove the pit, cut away the red flesh that connects to the pit from each quarter. Now take each quarter, slice it in half lengthwise and thirds crosswise. A lot of recipes will just cut them into slices. I don't like doing just slices. I find it to be a little bit too large to dish up properly or nicely. these little bite-sized pieces. It makes it easier to get a clean scoop of the cobbler. It also means that the fruit will cook just a little bit faster and more evenly, as well as giving it more surface area when we go to macerate them. Surface area is important because that is going to be the active space that the sugar can pull liquid out of the fruit. So the larger the surface area, the more work that the sugar can do. Repeat the process with the rest of your peaches.
Macerating your peaches.
It's time to add the sugar and then toss them to combine. So grab the first of your two 40-gram measures of granulated sugar, add it to the peaches. Toss this well so that everything is nice and combined. Put your runaways back in. Shouldn't have said anything. Let it sit at room temperature for 30 to 60 minutes. It won't hurt if you go any longer, but who wants to spend all day making a quick dessert? In the meantime, get your oven preheating to 425 degrees Fahrenheit and set your rack to the lower middle position.
Drain the peaches.
After 30 minutes, it's time to drain your peaches and start them baking. The baking dish I'm going to be using is this casserole. It's halfway between a casserole and a pie plate. It is about 8.5 inches in diameter. It's important to know that because when we go on to making the biscuits, what we're going to do is create a disc that is smaller in diameter, cut it into wedges, and then spread them out. Get the peaches out of the bowl and draining so that you can collect the juice. The reason we macerated them is to get a bunch of the liquid out of the peaches so that we can control how much liquid is in the final product. Simply take a colander in a bowl and add your peaches to it and let those drain for about 5 minutes. After 5 minutes, go ahead and take your peaches, transfer those to your baking dish. Take the accumulated juices from the peaches, move those to a measuring cup. Get as much of it as you can. Then measure out 1/4 cup and add it back. Add the lemon juice and cornstarch. Then whisk. Once the cornstarch is completely mixed in, transfer this to your baking dish. Make sure to toss the peaches so that you get everything evenly covered. Push your peaches down into an even layer. Load the peaches onto a baking tray and transfer to the oven. You want to bake this until the peaches start to bubble and the liquid begins to reduce.
10 to 20 minutes, check frequently after 10. Making biscuits.
It's time to make the biscuits. Don't start this until this point, because if you do, the chemical leaveners in the biscuit are going to activate too soon and you're not going to get a nice big lift. Into the bowl of a food processor, add your flour, the other 40 grams of sugar, your baking powder, baking soda, 2 grams of salt, and pulse just to combine. With your dry ingredients mixed, take your frozen butter and add it as well. Using the frozen butter here is key. Frozen butter is fragile. When it hits the blades, it will fragment into tiny little pieces and begin to collect and form little pebbles without melting. That's exactly what we want. Add the lemon zest. With all those ingredients in, pulse until it begins to form a fine sandy structure. It's going to take about 10 1-second pulses. There we go, we've got a nice fluffy grain structure. That's perfect. And transfer all of that into a bowl. To form the dough, we're going to use buttermilk as the liquid ingredient. We're starting with just 3 tablespoons because we want to get this to the point where it just holds together. We don't want an overly liquid or sticky dough. Using your favorite rubber spatula, stir and toss until the dough just comes together. I'm starting with 3 tablespoons. You may need to use more depending on the day, the weather, humidity. When you're adding more liquid, do it very slowly, a tablespoon at a time. I really like that graduated jigger that I got for cocktails. It starts at 1/2 ounce, which is a tablespoon, and goes up to 2.5 ounces. It's honestly one of the most versatile liquid measuring tools I have in the kitchen. All right, I think that is it. From here, we want to form just a very loose but coherent mass. Shaggy dough. Take your biscuit dough, transfer it to your workstation. Working quickly, but gently. You want to get this into one good solid mass, then roll it out, pat it out really, into a circle that is about 1 inch to 1.5 inches smaller in diameter than your baking dish. Mine is 8.5 inches, so I'm actually looking for a 7-inch disc. This can go a bit more. Just like with any dough, you want to roll from the center out. Don't be like me. Lightly flour your rolling pin and it won't stick. All right, about 7 inches diameter. From here, we're going to slice this just like a pizza for Ninja Turtles. 8 wedges. Then use a pie turner to separate them. All right, there you go. We have our biscuits ready to be placed into the cobbler.
Final assembly.
It's been about 15 minutes and the peaches are looking very nice. They've started taking on some browning. What we're gonna do now is just lay the wedges of the biscuit on top, the curved edge of the biscuit, against the wall of our pie plate. Space them out about 1/2, 3/4 of an inch. Doesn't have to be precise, but at the halfway point, you want to check, make sure that you're not taking up too much space. Even then, I need to make some room. Then an optional step, but one that I find can be a lot of fun, is to just lightly dust the biscuits with more granulated sugar. This will give them some texture on top and help with the browning. All that's left is to bake this for 16 to 18 more minutes, still at 425 degrees, still using a cookie tray underneath to prevent it from boiling over or breaking.
Finished cobbler.
After 16 to 18 minutes, check your cobbler, make sure that it's getting nice and brown on top. If it is, pull it out. You can see the wonderful texture that we got from the granulated sugar. This needs to cool for about 20 minutes before serving.
Serving.
Okay, I know I said that the cobbler needs 20 minutes to cool down, but set your timer for 15 minutes. The reason being, it's been scientifically proven that the best way to enjoy a cobbler is to put a scoop of ice cream on top of it while the cobbler is still warm. I don't make the rules, but the numbers don't lie. Get yourself a nice big spoon, get a good scoop of cobbler, and then to that, add a nice scoop of ice cream. Each cobbler turned out great. Our biscuit has a wonderful texture. It's light, it's tender. Has a really nice crunch on top thanks to the extra sugar. The peaches themselves still have a good bit of chew to them. They haven't completely softened, which is nice. I don't like it when they completely disintegrate. And then the ice cream just complements everything. The magic happens here when the ice cream starts to mix with the syrup from the peaches. That's the winning spot. So there you go. That's how you make peach cobbler. One of my absolute favorite desserts, and it's really only good in a short window of opportunity, late summer, early fall. So go out, make your own. Love to hear from you. As always, thank you for watching. Please like and subscribe. It really helps us out as a new channel. Once we get to 1,000 subscribers, we'll be doing a small giveaway, so please keep an eye out for that. And subscribe if you would like a chance to win. I'll be launching a Patreon here as soon as I can. The shout out this week is to my wife, who has been simply amazing. She has been nothing but supportive. Thank you, Anna. Love you.
Biscuits.